Tuesday, the 13th of May, 2025. And it's also a very auspicious day. It's the Tirabhav of Sripad Bhakti Saranga Goswami Maharaj, who was a great disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one of those great personalities that Krishna sent directly to the camp of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. A very amazing personality. So there's a description on our WhatsApp thread of his glories and his expertise in his preaching abilities. So Sripad Bhakti Saranga Goswami Pad Ki Jai Go Pranandi. Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gauda Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajabi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhueka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavilasa Rupe. Anapita Chirim Chirat Karuna Varatano Samarapaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Haripurata Sundaratu Tikatam Vasatipita Sadahradare Kandare Spudatu Vasachinandanaha Yam Prabhajantamana Petyam Apetikritiam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Taravo Medustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimanatoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmarita Rangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Namaste Charanada Vindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Bharadram Tato Mamanasti Katyana Kapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charantikam. I'm first of all offering millions and millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my most beloved Gurudev, Adi-lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasdara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And again, I'm offering millions of Dandavats unto our dear most beloved Adi-lila, Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasdara Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. And I'm offering my Sastang Dandavats to our dear most Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami Pad, and to all our illustrious Rupanuga Guru Varga and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vansha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhuvevacha patitanam papnibhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So, coming to our ecstatic subject matter of this fourth chapter of Adi-lila. First chapter was about the spiritual masters. Second chapter was substantiating that actually Mahaprabhu is non-different to Krishna himself. The third chapter are the external reasons. And there it was described by Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, the loud calling of Advaita Acharya, and the gift of the holy name of the Lord. So these were categorized by Srila Krishna's Kaviraj as external. And I've explained before that my Gurudev gives another idea of the numbering of these reasons and describes Advaita Acharya as an internal reason because it's internally responded to by Krishna directly himself. But still, the principal reason for Mahaprabhu's, the internal reasons, these are unpacked and described in this fourth chapter. And the principal reason for Mahaprabhu's advent is that he wanted to taste his own prem. And yesterday we discussed this second line of this verse, Rag Mag Bhakti Loke Karite Prachan. He's come to give the whole world this Raganuga Bhakti, even though, of course, he's fully capable of giving nourishment to all rasas. Sakya Ras, Dasya Ras, Vatsalya Ras, and all the rasas he can give, but Madhurya Ras in particular, and he hasn't come to give Sakhi Bhav. Definitely we should understand this. He hasn't come to give Sakhi Bhav. Swarup Damodar, who is Lalita Sakhi, and Rai Ramananda, Vishaka, in the spiritual world, they haven't manifested a whole line themselves. That was not the intention of Mahaprabhu. The intention of Mahaprabhu was to give this Madhurya Prem, but in the mood of the Manjaris. And we see from the beautiful verse that Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj quotes from Rupa Goswami, from his Vidagdha Madhav introduction, this Unnata Ujjvala Ras is what Mahaprabhu is tasting, and this Swa Bhakti, Swa means own Bhakti, which is Radha. Krishna's own Bhakti is Radha, and Shriyam, the beauty of Radha's Bhakti. The beauty of this Bhakti is Sri Radhika, and the beauty of Sri Radhika is accentuated in her Manjaris. So ultimately it's Manjari Bhav, and all our Guru Varga, they are all Manjaris, all of them, without any exceptions. They're all Manjaris from top to bottom. So this is the mission of Mahaprabhu, to offer this opportunity to the Jiva for this highest relationship with Krishna in service to Sri Radhika. Mahaprabhu is in a mood of Sri Radhika himself. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritya Hladini Shakti Asmad Ekatmanav, that Radha and Krishna have combined into one. And this mood of Radhika dominates Sachinandan Gaurahari. So he's in a mood of Radha, tasting her love for Krishna as the Ashraya and carrying her golden complexion. So yesterday we discussed so many wonderful things from here about the gopis, and we even have touched on Parakiya Ras. And Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is describing this very, very beautifully, this Parakiya Ras, and explaining how this has nothing to do with the material, mundane lust. He categorically is making it very clear that this transcendental gift is way beyond any type of sahajya mentality at all. It's to be honored completely in the spiritual world. And the sadhak must follow the rules and regulations in order to have that mercy bestowed upon him to enter into this world. And we quoted that verse, that beautiful verse by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Vidhi Mag Ratna Jane, Rag Mag Karuna Pravesh, that by carefully following these rules and regulations, Krishna himself will bestow through Guru this link, this connection with the spiritual reality. It can't be forced by the jiva. It's only by mercy. We've said many times, this is called Avaroha Panta, the descending path. We are wanting to receive the mercy of the Lord to enter into this realm. So in order to do that, we must follow these rules and regulations, but to remember that this is called Rag Pravriti Vaidhi Bhakti. This Rag Pravriti, our focus of attention is on Raganuga. This is all the teachings of Caitanya Caritamrta, which is explaining this clearly. So now we come to text 31 today. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Binda Dharma Chadi Rage Dune Koriya Milan Kabu Mile Kabu Namile Daivere Katan. Translation. Pure attachment will unite us, even at the expense of moral and religious duties, dharma. Destiny will sometimes bring us together and sometimes separate us. So even breaking the codes of dharma, of material dharma, the social order. Purport. The gopis came out to meet Krishna in the dead of night when they heard the sound of his flute. Sri Rupa Goswami has accordingly composed a nice verse, see in Adi-lila 4.31, that describes the beautiful boy called Govinda, standing by the bank of the Jamuna with his flute to his lips in the shining moonlight. Perhaps we've seen a beautiful painting of this. Those who want to enjoy life in the materialistic way of society, friendship and love should not go to the Jamuna to see the form of Govinda. The sound of Lord Krishna's flute is so sweet that it has made the gopis forget all about their relationships with their kinsmen and flee to Krishna in the dead of night. So if you still want to maintain your materialistic ambitions, your materialistic desires, your material hopes for increasing reputation, etc., adoration by the public, by our family, then don't go to the bank of the Jamuna and see the beautiful shining face of Govinda Dev, because he will take all of that material connection away completely, and we'll come to our spiritual identity, which has nothing actually to do with this material world whatsoever. By leaving home, carrying on the purport, by leaving home in that way, the gopis transgress the Vedic regulations of household life. This indicates that when natural feelings of love for Krishna become fully manifest, a devotee can neglect conventional social rules and regulations. In the material world, we are situated in designative positions only by pure devotional service. But pure devotional service begins when one is freed from all designations. When love for Krishna is awakened, the designative positions are overcome. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he writes in that very beautiful article, before acquired nature, before this acquired material nature, he's describing previously in the Brahman, before we manifest, before acquiring this material nature. So this nature is called by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he describes it as called nishag. He gives this very beautiful word nishag, which means acquired nature. We have acquired this material nature, these material ambitions, this desire for material wealth, prosperity, material friendship, happiness and love. These are all acquired natures and qualities. That is not our nature. That is not the nature of the soul. So it's incumbent for the sadhak to again reunite with his soul through diligent practice, and he can't do it alone. It comes by mercy, this avaroha panta. When we please the Supreme Lord, when we're able to actually perform pure devotional service, and it's a gradation in stages, and we have an opportunity every day by offering our bhoga, etc., to perform some type of devotional service. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he's described that before taking rest at night, we should tally up in our minds, how much devotional service have I actually performed today? How much real devotional service have I performed today? We should consider this carefully and deeply. So there are gradations of devotional service. So devotional service itself is an eternal quality of the jiva, so therefore it's increasing. We've described before that all these internal qualities, they all increase. So we can consider what is the nature of our devotional service today. We must make these considerations truthfully, honestly, to go forward on this journey. The spontaneous attraction of Sri Krishna for his dearest parts and parcels generates an enthusiasm that obliges Sri Krishna and the gopis to meet together. So this enthusiasm, this greed, this is the ingredient of Raganuga Bhakti, nothing less than greed. We said this verse yesterday, Krishna Bhakti Rasabhavitamati Kriyatam Yatita Labhite. Tatra Lolyam Api Mulyam Ekalam, this greed, where we sense someone has that greed, we should take shelter of their lotus feet and desire to get that greed ourselves, that greed to be hungry to render service to Krishna. This is actually only coming to the stage of Nishta, where I cannot withdraw my mind from Krishna. We described this yesterday also. To celebrate this transcendental enthusiasm, there is need of a sentiment of separation between the lover and beloved. Yes, this separation is going to generate this anticipation of meeting. It begins with Purvarag. This is the first of the separation moods. This Purvarag is described as that mood of anticipation. I'm hungry to meet the Lord. What can I do to facilitate that meeting quickly? How can I serve the Lord somehow or other today so I get an opportunity to invoke the presence of the Lord? How can I do that? And it begins, of course, with Guru. Guru is that personality who is representing the Lord. Our selfless service to Guru will bestow upon us Krishna's kripa. When Guru is pleased, then Krishna is pleased. Sakshata vitre nasamasta shastra. Non-different. So this is our transparent via media to Krishna, is through Guru and his pleasure. If Guru is pleased with our service, then we can be assured that Krishna is also pleased. Our desire constantly is to please the Lord, because that is going to bring devotional service fully into the heart. That is what is the meaning of devotional service, to please the Lord. In the condition of material tribulation, no one wants the pangs of separation. Yes, materially, separation is distasteful. But in the transcendental form, that very same separation, being absolute in nature, strengthens the ties of love and enhances the desire of the lover and beloved to meet. So we see Radhika's separation. Krishna goes to Dwarka for 100 years. He not only marries one queen, but he marries 16,108 queens. And there's a beautiful verse, Sarvasya Kaham, I think of it in a minute, that describes that this love cannot be broken. This prem cannot be broken. And I just forget the verse. I'll get it in a minute. But this love can't be broken. Actually, it increases. Radhika's attraction for Krishna increases, even though he has so many queens, so many children, and so many grandchildren. In this material world, if someone goes away and has one extra wife, then that's enough to break the material love. But in the spiritual, transcendental, loving relationship, this love just increases exponentially. I just find this verse because it's bothering me. Sarvasya, no. Sarvata Dhamma Rahitam. That's the one. 322, just a second. Sarvasya Kaham Pridi. Sarvata dharmasya rahitam yadyapi dvamsa karine yad bhava bandhanam sa prem parikirtita. When the affectionate bond between a young man and a young woman can never be destroyed, even when there is every cause for the destruction of that relationship, the attachment between them is said to be pure love. And we see the example of Chandravali. Chandravali, she knows that, in fact, Krishna has his heart with Sri Radhika. Sometimes Sri Krishna will be with Chandravali and just absent-mindedly say, "Oh, Radhe," and Chandravali will respond, and she'll say angrily, "Oh, Kamsa," and Krishna says, "Where is Kamsa around here?" And Chandravali responds and says, "Well, where is Radha around here?" And then Krishna realizes his mistake. But Chandravali always knows that Krishna has his heart with Radhika, but her love for Krishna can never waver, regardless of the pain she may feel in separation, and knowledge that actually Krishna is more attracted to Radhika than she is to her. So this is another example. This verse, Dvamsa sarvata dvamsa rahitam yadyapi dvamsa karine yad bhav bandhanam yuno sa prem parikirtita. This love, transcendental love, can never be broken, even if there's extreme separation. The period of separation, evaluated transcendentally, is more relishable than the actual meeting. So don't confuse this. Don't think that we want Radha and Krishna to be separated because it's more relishable. My Gurudev has described a number of times that meeting is the pinnacle and separation is the topmost. So they're both identical in bliss, ultimately. But the meeting has a special dynamic that is separate to the separation. The separation has its own flavor, its unique quality. It's called mohan and modan, these stages of separation. They're very powerful. It's when 5 of these Ashtasattvika bhavs are blazing, is in mohan. And then modan is when 8 Ashtasattvika bhavs are blazing. And in Madanaki Mahabhav, ultimately it's all 8 are blazing also. So it's actually ultimately the same, but still there is unique speciality within each rasa. So this meeting and separation is a very wonderful topic to consider and meditate on. The period of separation, evaluated transcendentally, is more relishable than the actual meeting. For the sadhak is always in separation. It's the separation that's going to cause the greed, the hunger to be with Krishna. Seva sadhak rupena, siddha rupena tatrahi. These 2 types of sadhak, or 2 types of devotee, the sadhak and the siddha. The siddha may be meeting Krishna in his meditation, but the sadhak is not. The sadhak is practicing diligently the precepts to attain that siddha, attain that perfected state of union internally in service to Radha and Krishna, or to Radha. Evaluated transcendentally is more relishable than the actual meeting, which lacks the feelings of increasing anticipation, because the lover and beloved are both present. So yes, in the meeting, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada here is saying, it's not as relishable as the separation mood. But this is not that we want Radha and Krishna to be separated. It's just accentuating that the separation also is a very blissful stage, even though it seems to appear very painful. There's a description in the Ananda Vrindavan Champu, we can post it afterwards, where it's describing how the gopis are feeling as if millions of razor blades are cutting their bodies, as if millions of scorpions are biting them. This is how much pain they're feeling in separation. But this is an internal anguish. Yugayate damishena yak chakshusam paradaitam sanyaitam jagatsavam govindam viraherame. That it's describing in the Shikshastakam, that a moment feels like a millennium in separation. So this anticipation for a sadhak is very, very, is all the sadhak is in. But the siddha, then he will be blissfully uniting in service to Radha and Krishna. or taking parts in the pastimes. So these are deep, confidential topics that when our sadhan bhajan is increasing, we will be able to consider these topics much more significantly. And Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is alluding to these topics here. He's encouraging the devotees to go forward in contemplating the distinction between meeting and separation. We have Madan Mohan, this beautiful personality, Madan Mohan. So Madan is meeting, Mohan is separation. So the two are within the one. So we have to consider these different appreciations. Text 32. E sabarasa nirya se karipa ashvad, e dware karipa sabha bhaktar prasad. I shall taste the essence of all these rasas, and in this way I shall favor all the devotees. So Mahaprabhu himself is feeling, I'll taste these rasas, and then the devotees will see me tasting these rasas, and they will be inspired themselves to taste this Braja Ras, which is what Mahaprabhu has come to give. Text 33. Rajera nirmala raga suni bhakta gana rag mag bhajayena chaditarma karma. Then by hearing about the pure love of the residents of Braj, devotees will worship me on the path of spontaneous love, abandoning all rituals of religiosity and fruitive activity. This is what Mahaprabhu has come to give. He's come to give this Braja Prem, Braja Ras, this Raganuga Bhakti. He's come to give this, but it is a confidential, internal relish. It's not an external display. Purport. Many realized souls, such as Raghunath Das Goswami and King Kulashekar, have recommended with great emphasis that one develop this spontaneous love of Godhead, even at the risk of transgressing all the traditional codes of morality and religiosity. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, has written in his prayers called the Manashiksha that one should simply worship Radha and Krishna with all attention. Nadanam, Nadanam, Shrutigana, Niruktam, Kila, Kulu. One should not be much interested in performing Vedic rituals or simply following rules and regulations. These were the paths that were practiced previous to the advent of Mahaprabhu. Historically, these traditional modes of worship, the rules and regulations, certainly in Satya Yuga, in Treta Yuga, in Dwapara Yuga, these rules and regulations were absolutely paramount. But in this particular Kali Yuga, these rules and regulations can be transcended by the experience of pure desire to please Krishna in pure, attractive service, pure devotional service, in a mood of madhurya, a mood of the Brijbasis, a mood of raganuga, rag mag. Rag anuga means we're following the rag atmikas. The rag atmikas are those realized souls whose atma is soaked in rag already. Lalita, Vishaka, Champakalata, Chitra, Tungavidya, Sudevi, Rangadevi, etc. All the residents of Braj, they are all rag atmikas, and the rag anuga is following in the wake of these rag atmikas. King Kulashekar has written similarly in his book Mukunda Mala Stotra. Nashta dharme navasu nischaya naiva kama pa boge yad bhavyam tad bhavatu bhagavan purva kamanurapam etat paratyam mama pahumatam janmantarepi tat tvat padambo ruha yuga gata nischala bhakti astu. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he pulls these scriptural supports from everywhere. I have no attraction for performing religious principles or holding any earthly kingdom. I do not care for sense enjoyments. Let them appear and disappear in accordance with my previous deeds. My only desire is to be fixed in devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord, even though I may continue to take birth here, life after life. Also, it's described in the Vritrasura, in his prayers to Krishna. He's saying a similar sentiment, that he doesn't want any earthly wealth or connection. He simply wants to serve the Lord life after life. This should be our aspiration. All our various material ambitions, we pray to be quickly purified, so I will be in that fast devotional track of pure devotion. Text 34. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusyam deham ashritatha bhajate tadrishi krita yashrutva tatparo bhavet. Translation. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. This is why he performs these pastimes, to attract the living entities, the jivas, to his pastimes. The Ras Lila is the crest jewel of all Krishna's pastime, this most magnificent, unbelievable, otherworldly, transcendental festival. Billions of gopis dancing simultaneously with Krishna. The personified musical instruments performing the wonderful background sounds, music, and the prominent sound of their ankle bells, their bracelets, their waist belts, ching, 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 beautifying the whole mood of this loving relationship, this dramatic, the gopis waving beautiful scarves in chorus with each other. Beautiful, the most beautiful women in existence, and Krishna, the most beautiful personality in existence, are all demonstrating this display, this festival. The demigods are able to see the external aspect of this, the intimate relationships. The demigods can't see that, but they have an idea of what is Krishna doing. And Chandradev, the moon, stands still for a whole night of Lord Brahma, 4,320,000,000 years. This Rasa Lila is so ecstatic, electric to perceive. Vrindadevi is the audience. She's clapping, she's cheering as they express their singing prowess. Krishna becomes so pleased listening to them. So these are the human-like pastimes that he performs in Brajabhumi, here on this planet Earth, to attract the jivas. Who wouldn't be attracted to such a festivity of love and affection and attraction and sound vibration? This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-36. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable expansions of his transcendental form who eternally exist in the spiritual world, and they come here, those same Nitya Siddha Parikas. This material world is only a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, where everything is manifested without inebriety. There's no envy in the spiritual world. There's no jealousy. There, everything is in its original existence, free from the domination of time. There is no past, there is no future. There is only the powerful present, which is eternally increasing the sweetness, in sweetness. Time cannot deteriorate or interfere with the conditions in the spiritual world, where different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the recipients of the worship of different living entities in their constitutional spiritual positions. These different personalities. In the spiritual world, all existence is unadulterated goodness. The goodness found in the material world is contaminated by the modes of passion and ignorance. We can't get pure sattva in this material conception. It's only in the spiritual world that resides. Continuing the purport. The saying that the human form of life is the best position for the devotional service has its special significance, because only in this form
can a living entity revive his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The human form is considered the highest state in the cycle of the species of life in the material world. We have that verse, Labda Sadulavam idam bahu sambhavante manusyam dam artha parimya. Yeah. This beautiful verse, Labda Sadulavam, describes that sense gratification can be taken by the animals. Why waste your time on sense gratification in this human birth? Turanam yateta. We should immediately begin our spiritual practice if we're gifted with a human form, a human body. A very important verse. It's right at the very beginning of the this little shloka. I'll read you the whole verse because it's just so beautiful. I can quickly get it. Labda Sudulavam. Labda Sudulavam idam bahu sambhavante manusyam artadam anityam api hatira turnam yateta napadet anumrityu yavan nishresya vishaya kalo sarvata syat. And this is saying that this human birth is very rare because it is only attained after many lifetimes. But you can read the translation. But this is the same mood that Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada is writing this paragraph from, the same urgency to utilize our human form of life to the best capacity that we're able to do. The human form is considered the highest state in the cycle of the species of life in the material world. If one takes advantage of this highest kind of material form, one can regain his position of devotional service to the Lord. Yes, we can. The demigods are queuing up now to take birth as humans in this Kali Yuga. Incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear in all the species of life, although this is inconceivable to the human brain. The Lord's appreciated according to the appreciating capacity of the living entities. So many species, 8,400,000 species, but it's only in the human species that we can appreciate these truths. In the animal species, a dog may perform apparent devotional sentiments, but within a moment it's chasing a bitch. You understand? We've seen animals apparently exhibiting devotional sentiments, but are they able to maintain them? But in the human species, we're able to develop and move forward in this direction. The Supreme Lord bestows the most merciful benediction upon human society when he appears in his human form. It is then that humanity gets the opportunity to engage in different kinds of eternal service to the Lord. Yes. Special natural appreciation of the descriptions of a particular pastime of Godhead indicates the constitutional position of a living entity. Adoration, servitorship, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love are the 5 primary relationships with Krishna. The highest perfectional stage of the conjugal relationship, enriched by many sentiments, gives the maximum relishable mellow to the devotee. Because this is what Mahaprabhu has come to freely distribute. Mahaprabhu doesn't ask for our qualification in this birth. In Krishna's Leela, there was a question of someone's adhikar to actually enter into Krishna's Leela. But Mahaprabhu, he demands no adhikar. He will give freely, simply by vibrating this holy name and by following closely these precepts that we're reading. The Lord appears in different incarnations, as a fish, tortoise, and boar, as Parshuram, Lord Ram, Buddha, and so on, to reciprocate the different appreciations of different living entities in different stages of evolution. The conjugal relationship of amorous love, called Parakiya Ras, is the unparalleled perfection of love exhibited by Lord Krishna and his devotees. There's nothing higher than this. This is the highest pinnacle of devotion, this Parakiya. this spontaneous, unwedded love for Krishna, this mood. A class of so-called devotees known as Sahajiyas try to imitate the Lord's pastimes, although they have no understanding of the amorous love in his expansions of pleasure potency. Their superficial imitation can create havoc on the path for the advancement of one's spiritual relationship with the Lord. Material sexual indulgence can never be equated with spiritual love. So if that is the predominating mood and desire of the sadhak, is to come into that mundane realm by his practice, then of course there's going to be no transcendental fruit in his practice at all. So this must be completely purified by the rules and regulations carefully following. The activities of Sahajiyas simply lower one deeper into the material contamination of the senses and mind. How difficult it is for Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada to present these teachings to people who were literally just wiping the meat from their faces. These are two 6 or 7 year old devotees, basically, 74, 75. He started his movement in perhaps 66, 67. How many years is that? 7 years, 6 years? How old, mature were the devotees at that time? To hear about this Parakiya Ras. These are very profound topics that simply this purification, this purificatory process of chanting Hare Krishna will enable us to appreciate these topics. If we chant nicely, the mercy will descend to understand these topics. The activities of Sahajiyas simply lower one deeper into the material contamination of the senses and mind. Krishna's transcendental pastimes display eternal servitorship to Adhoksaja. That means beyond the senses, beyond the material senses. The Supreme Lord, who is beyond all conception through material senses, Adhoksaja. Prabhupada uses these words so beautifully, so fluently. Materialistic, conditioned souls do not understand the transcendental exchanges of love, but they like to indulge in sense gratification in the name of devotional service. So, in our preaching activities and so on, we try to facilitate the sense gratifiers to some degree. But if the people putting on those festivals are relishing themselves these sense gratificatory activities like rock and roll bands and stuff like this, using to spread Krishna's name, how is this really going to impact the heart of the practitioner if he's engaging in sense gratificatory acts himself in the name of preaching? We have to be cautious. It's like a razor's edge. Prabhupada made so much facility for compromise, but we shouldn't take advantage of that and try to overly compromise. Don't compromise our own principles, ever, because it will just lead us into degradation. But they like to indulge in sense gratification in the name of devotional service. The activities of the Supreme Lord can never be understood by irresponsible persons who think the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be ordinary affairs. The rasa dance was arranged by Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya, and it is beyond the grasp of the materially affected person. It's beyond, it's so powerful and potent, but it has the potency to purify these material coverings of the jiva. It's so powerful. So at the same time, we have to hear about these topics. If we don't hear about these topics, where will our inspiration be to go forward? If we think our purpose in life is just to become austere, following rules and regulations, almost like a yogi, where will that bring us to? Perhaps maybe Paramatma realization, maybe mukti, liberation, but it won't bring us to the place that Mahaprabhu wants to take us to. The Sahajias misinterpret the sayings Tat Parvena Nirmalam and Tat Paro Bhavet. This is referring to the verse Anugrahaya. By misinterpreting Tadrishi Krida, they want to indulge in sex while pretending to imitate Lord Krishna. But one must actually understand the imports of the words through the intelligence of the authorized Goswamis. Srila Narottam Das Thakur, in his prayers to the Goswamis, has explained his inability to understand such spiritual affairs. Rupa Raghunath Pade Hoibe Akuti, Kabu Hame Bujabo, Se Yugala Piriti. When I shall be eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental love affairs of Radha and Krishna. In other words, unless one is trained under the disciplic succession of the Goswamis, one cannot understand Radha and Krishna, unless we're in this line coming from Rupa Goswami, through all these personalities, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Gokishore Das Babaji, Srinivasacharya, Narottam Das himself. All of these personalities in our line are distributing the guidelines for us to come into Braja Prem. These are the emissaries of Sachinandan Gaurahari. The conditioned souls are naturally averse to understanding the spiritual existence of the Lord, and if they try to know the transcendental nature of the Lord's pastimes while they remain absorbed in materialism, they are sure to blunder like the Sahajias. We have to cut it. We have to cut our material ambitions and desires at the root. This is our endeavor, not that we're trying to carry them both forward into the material world. Ultimately, it has to be purified. If we have a desire to actually reach this highest ambition of the Acharyas, for us to become fully relishing what Mahaprabhu has come to give. By the time we finish this Caitanya Caritamrta, it will have had the power to have changed our hearts and substituted these material ambitions definitely for our greed and enthusiasm just to please Sachinandan Gaurahari and all his emissaries. So, text 35. Bhavet Kriya Vidhilin Se Iha Karya Kartavya Avasya E Anyata Pratyava. Translation. Here the use of the word bhavet, which is in the imperative mood, tells us that this certainly must be done. Non-compliance would be abandonment of duty. So in this verse, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam, that we've just discussed, now Srila Krishna's Kaviraj is unpacking the last line, Ya Shrutva Tatparo Bhavet, that one must become attracted to serving the Lord. You see, if the regulative principles are not practiced, where will our desire for service to the Lord be? Purport. This imperative is applicable to pure devotees. Neophytes will be able to understand these affairs only after being elevated by regulated devotional service under the expert guidance of the spiritual master. Then they too will be competent to hear the love affairs of Radha and Krishna. As long as one is, Prabhupada is giving us the light, he's giving this rag pravriti Vaidimag. As long as one is in the material conditioned life, strict discipline is required in the matter of moral and immoral activities. The absolute world is transcendental and free from such distinctions because their inebriety is not possible. In the spiritual world, there's no inebriety. So how can one think that we can fall from that place? They haven't read scriptures who think like that. But in this material world, a sexual appetite necessitates distinction between moral and immoral conduct. There are no sexual activities in the spiritual world. The transactions between lover and beloved in the spiritual world are pure, transcendental love and unadulterated bliss. One who has not been attracted by the transcendental beauty of rasa will certainly be dragged down into the material attraction, thus to act in material contamination and progress to the darkest regions of hellish life. He will miss the point completely. But by understanding the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, one is freed from the grip of attraction to material so-called love between man and woman. This is not on that level. Similarly, one who understands the pure parental love of Nanda and Yashoda for Krishna will be saved from being dragged into material parental affection. Yes, this material parental affection is very, very powerful. And one must see ultimately the temporary nature in this material world of everything. These are just the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita descriptions, all the way through the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. It's impressing we are not this material temporary body. If we think we are this material body, then we want to enjoy material pleasures like sex indulgence. But if we know we are spirit soul, we only want to experience that purest devotion to the Supreme Lord and his parikars, and the gopis in particular, to render service to them, particularly Sri Radhika. Similarly, one who understands, yes, if one accepts Krishna as the supreme friend, the attraction of material friendship will be finished for him, and he will not be dismayed by so-called friendship with mundane wranglers. If he is attracted by servitorship to Krishna, he will no longer have to serve the material body in the degraded status of material existence with a false hope of becoming master in the future. We may act like this, but actually in the future we may hope secretly to become like the master. Similarly, one who sees the greatness of Krishna in neutrality will certainly never again seek the so-called relief of impersonalist or voidist philosophy. If one is not attracted by the transcendental nature of Krishna, one is sure to be attracted to material enjoyment. Why? Because the nature of the jiva is to enjoy. Ananda Bhyasat, we are naturally enjoyers. If we're not enjoying our spiritual aspirations for devotional service, we must be seeking that pleasure in the material realm. This will automatically be there. If one is not attracted by the transcendental nature of Krishna, one is sure to be attracted to material enjoyment, thus to become implicated in the clinging network of virtuous and sinful activities. This is material dharma. And it's saying even in Bhagavad Gita, sarva dharmam parityaja, mam ekam saranam, give up all dharmas. In Jaiva Dharma, in the Falshruti, 3 or 4 verses right at the beginning, constantly are saying, relinquish this dharma. Naimitic dharma must be relinquished, and only nitya dharma should be considered. And continue material existence by transmigrating from one material body to another. Is that what we want? Unless we follow this, this will be our destiny. Only in Krishna consciousness can one achieve the highest perfection of life. Only in Krishna consciousness one can achieve the highest perfection of life. Text 36 and 37.
Evanchayache Krishna praktya karana asura samahara asanga prayojana emata Caitanya Krishna purna bhagavan yuga dharma pavatrana nahitan rakam.
Translation: just as these desires are the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance, whereas destroying the demons is only an incidental necessity, so for Sri Krishna Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, promulgating the Dharma of the age is incidental. Mahaprabhu has not come, and Krishna has not come to purify the world of the demons. This is the work of Vishnu. So we've come out of that section where we were discussing the Ras Lila, more or less, and Srila Krishna's Kaviraj now is describing the fundamental reason for Krishna's appearance is not to annihilate the demons, but actually Mahaprabhu has the ability to annihilate the demons in the heart and bring us to this platform. Text 38.
Kona karane yaba hoile avataraman, yuge dharma kala hoile sekala milan.
Translation. When the Lord desired to appear for another reason, the time for promulgating the religion of the age also arose.
Due heti avatara lana bhaktagan, apane asvara prema nama sankirtan.
This is verse 39. Translation. Thus, with two intentions, the Lord appeared with his devotees and tasted the nectar of prema with the congregational chanting of the holy name. So he's tasting prema himself, and he's giving this prema through the congregational the chanting of the holy name to his devotees. Premras niryase korite yashvadan. Text 40.
Sedvare achandale kirtana sanchare, nam prem malaganti parilai samsare.
Translation. Thus he spread kirtan even among the untouchables. He wove a wreath of the holy name and prema with which he garlanded the entire world. Yes, we are the recipients of that. Text 41.
E mata bhakta bhave koriya angikar, apani acharya bhakti korila prachar.
Translation. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. Mahaprabhu is described in the Manashiksha as our Bhajan Shiksha Guru. He is our Guru to demonstrate how to perform this process of bhajan. Means to worship, this internal worship of the Lord, which will manifest in so many external activities also, but internally that must be strong initially. And Mahaprabhu is enacting this himself. He is the devotee. He is the Ashraya. He is Sri Radhika. He's completely immersed in her moods. Purport. When Rupa Goswami met Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, Allahabad, he offered his respectful obeisances by submitting that Lord Chaitanya was more magnanimous than any other avatar of Krishna. Namo Mahabhadanaya Krishna Prema Padayate. Because he was distributing love of Krishna. No other incarnation has distributed love for himself. They've inspired worship on an Aishwarya platform, but not this internal connection of pure, unalloyed, spontaneous devotion. This hasn't been ever come before. His mission was to enhance love of God. In the human form of life, the highest achievement is to attain the platform of love of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya did not invent a system of religion, as people sometimes assume. Can't stop the dogs. Actually, this is quite a long purport, so I'm going to go through this purport tomorrow. We've practically reached our time, so the dogs are impatient at this particular point, so I'm not going to have to shout above them. So I'll stop here, and this is ending on text 41, and we'll continue with this wonderful purport and commentary on Thursday, this Thursday. So Sri Caitanya Caritamrta Ki Jai. Actually, we've just come out of one particular section describing the intimacy of Parakiya Ras, and now we've come into another section. So it's appropriate that we can leave it here, and we'll continue on Thursday. Sri Caitanya Caritamrta Ki Jai. Go Premanandi.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Haribo, Gaura Haribo. We silence them. Go Premanandi, Hari Haribo. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha, Kripa Sindhabevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. Bhakti Sarango Swami Maharaj ki jai. Vaishnavas ki jai. Go Premanandi, Hari Haribo.